Sports all plays. Hard sports all plays. Hard sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. Hard sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Hard sports all plays.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the ASAP Afternoon Blitz. I'm Chris Gonzalez. I'm joined by Jay McLevin. Got another packed show for you guys today. How you doing today, Jay?
Man, life is good. Not from Astros right now. We dropped the second game to Boston. You know, pitching for the Astros is amazing, doing a great job, but we're just not getting enough run production, man. Our run production is a little light right now, and that's kind of what's hurting us. So, it's okay, man. Life will move on. We're still doing okay, but man, what a time to be alive for sports.
Oh yeah, MLB trade deadline ended yesterday. I woke up mad this morning because mad for one, and then kind of sad for the other. But mad because my picks yesterday in Major League Baseball didn't do worth a shit, dude. The Yankees got beat. The Astros got beat. Hell, I picked the Reds to win. They actually won, but everybody else I picked, I think, lost. It was all like the Yankees, the Astros, the Mets. Mets got beat by the Nationals.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a lot of the top teams got beat yesterday. It was kind of a strange day in baseball. Maybe that was because it was the trade deadline. And then kind of sad because we lost maybe the greatest broadcaster in history, sports broadcaster in history, Vin Scully at 94 last night. Dude, just an absolute legend. I mean, listen to this. In his career, he called 25 World Series. 12 All-Star games, 20 no-hitters, and 3 perfect games. So just think all the history. Man, I'd have loved to be able to sit down with him just one time and just talk sports because he'd seen it all.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well, I mean, 94 years old. You got to imagine he's seen at least the last,
And I think he broadcasted for like over 60 years.
Yeah, I'm about to say 60 years worth of broadcasting. Damn near 85 years of baseball watching. I mean, 85 years of baseball watching. That's a lot of damn baseball. Baseball. I mean, they're talking about a guy that could probably go back to, damn near close to Babe Ruth, if not Babe Ruth, even seeing him play. I mean,
and they were playing some of his like more memorable calls. And man, he was just great at it. He was a legend. He knew when to talk and when to be quiet.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, Vince Scully. I mean, there's arguably not too many other broadcasters. There's a lot of them. You got Howard Cosell. You got Dick Vitale. You got a lot of legendary type guys, and obviously he's just another part of that company.
Yep.
Vince Scully, man.
For sure.
Jeez Louise.
Tell you what, 94, man. That's a pretty long life. So that's
Yeah, when you get to that age, it's not really a sad thing that you've lost. It's just more of like a celebration of what he's done. I mean, because we're all mortal. You can't live forever, but 94, I mean, I don't know how much more of life you need to really see. I mean, I think you've seen and done just about everything you could possibly do at that point.
If I live to be 94, I'll be happy.
Hell, if I live to be 78, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Shit, man. Damn. I
I
turn
could
50 next
honestly, I
month,
couldn't imagine living a 94. But what do you think about this baseball trade deadline, man? It was interesting. Uh, was there as much action at the trade deadline as you thought there would be? And who do you think had maybe had the best trade deadline?
Yeah, absolutely. Do I think there's gonna be this much? Yeah, I kind of did because I felt like there was a lot of teams out there that that really wanted to catch up to the Dodgers on that side as well as the Astros and Yankees on the other side. Again, I think the San Diego Padres. I just feel like they really probably got the best out of everything. They got two more high-profile bats to go with the other people that they had. They got the closer they needed. I don't know that there's a whole lot of weaknesses now to this Padres ball club. I think they're honestly, Soto's 23, Machado, all these guys are, still young. And so they got many years. If they can keep them together financially, they got a long time with these guys. So, again, I think age, ability, talent. I mean, the San Diego Padres team could be set up for quite some time, to be honest with you.
Yes, I think San Diego was definitely probably the big winners out of the trade deadline because not only did you add Soto, but you also have Soto for basically 3 years. So it's not like you have him just the rest of the season, then you have to sign him to a new contract. You have him for 3 years. Yes, eventually
Right.
you're gonna have to pay him if you want to keep him, but right now, right now you have him for at least 3 years. You also got Josh Bell in that deal, but then you to go get a closer like Hader. I mean, man, you add those three players to what they have, and I'm telling you, people need to start talking about their leadoff batter Profar. That dude's been balling as well. So now you're gonna have Profar, um, Tatis
Mhm.
Jr., Soto, was it Machado,
Yeah.
and Bell all in your first five batters, dude. That batting order is gonna
Yeah.
be deadly.
Five out of nine are potent people. So they're gonna spread them out. I mean, it's just gonna be stupid. Profile be your leadoff. I'm guesstimating probably, Soto or Tatis, will be your cleanup guy. Maybe even Bell might be your cleanup guy. Bell's hitting 301 right now. So maybe you put him even in at the close up. So it's going to be scary for pitchers to go against this lineup, man. And they're actually getting ready to play the Dodgers here coming up soon. So we're really going to get to see what they have in store, when that series comes about. Everybody's going to have all eyes on the Padres-Dodgers series. I guarantee them to you. But, and there's a lot of winners and losers at that trade deadline. Again, I think the Padres were a winner. Unfortunately, I think the Reds kind of took a hit, obviously, when they lost Luis Castillo, even though they did get some draft picks out of it. So, man, I don't know, Gonzo. I think they were one. I think the Nationals, depending on they lost two big bats. You don't know what those prospects are going to bring. So I don't know 100% whether or not they're a winner or a loser. I think it's going to kind of depend on how these prospects pan out. But man, I think the Mariners, they could have done more. They didn't. I don't think the Mariners really did a whole lot. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely some teams that really I thought, and again, I think the Orioles, I think they really lost a lot. So now they're kind of back to square one. After they came off that win streak. So I don't know, man, it's crazy. I think the Dodgers did terrible at the deadline when they brought in Gallo. So the fact that they didn't really do a whole lot kind of says a lot. The Red Sox, I thought they gave up Vasquez, but then they're trying to bring in the 34-year-old Tommy Pham. I mean, I don't know what they're really doing there.
I was one of the guys the Reds traded.
Yeah.
Did my dad said the trade deadline pissed him off.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like I said, the Reds really, again, they don't really have a true clear direction, and I don't know, them losing Luis Castillo. I don't.
Dude, we traded away
No,
5 players.
yeah.
We traded away Luis Castillo, who was an all-star, Brandon Drury, who was
Brandon
should have
Drury,
been an
right.
all-star. Then we got rid of Tommy Pham. Then we got rid of our other good pitcher, Tyler Malley. And then they also got rid of a good outfielder and Tyler Naquin.
So what are they doing over there, Gonzo? Damn. What are you
They got rid of these 5 players to get 10 prospects, and everybody goes, "Well, look how all these top prospects they got." Okay, that's fine and fucking dandy, but
Yeah.
we hear that every 3 years with the Reds. Oh, they get rid of everybody. Oh, they got all these top prospects coming up. Well, then they come up, they start to get good, and then we trade them away. So what's the use to having the damn prospects if we're just going to basically develop them and send them to other teams?
Oh, absolutely.
My dad's right my dad is exactly right with that comment right there. The Reds are a great farm club for other teams. Aroldis Chapman was a Red.
That's a lot. There's actually a lot to that I would agree with. Again, I think they're a farm system. I think the Orioles are a farm system because they just seem to let go of everybody. They don't really hold on to what they have. And I'm really kind of curious to see where Mancini comes into all this for the Astros and how good he's going to be for that lineup. Given the fact that Gurriel is kind of struggling right now, I'm really curious to see, what Mancini is going to bring to our team. They played last night. Mancini, he did debut last night in the 9th inning. Him and Vasquez both debuted in the 9th inning, both grounded out. But I'm not holding that against them.
I think that was 2 great pickups for the Astros. I really do.
They were excellent pickups.
And I still can't believe Mancini was available. I do not understand. Well, Baltimore, they were basically doing what the Reds always do. They started to get where they were going to compete, had a chance to even maybe make the playoffs this year. Now, let's get rid of a couple of our best players. What? Why? It makes no damn sense.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand the Brewers getting rid of Hader. You're in the middle of a division.
The number 1 closer, only to bring in the number 2 closer.
You had to bring in this basically just a 5-year older version of what you traded away.
And that's again, that's where it really doesn't make sense. Is why would you go the number 1 closer with number 2 closer? And that's why the Brewers are another team that, they're going to put a competitive product on the field, but they're never going to go anywhere because they don't make the right decisions, in my opinion, when it comes to their roster. They just don't make the right decisions. And, again, they're going to say competitive, but they just, they're just always going to be that, 500, maybe even 550 ball club.
Yeah. And then like the Reds yesterday during their game, the damn general manager got on there with the broadcasters. And we were actually live, we're unscripted when he got on there. So I muted it more for a minute, turned up my TV so I could hear it. And he was talking about, we got these 10 top prospects. It's really going to help our team. And I'm thinking, dude, I heard this shit 3 years ago. It's the same story. So they need to get rid of that Crawl. They need to get rid of Crawl as the GM. They need to get rid of fucking David Bell as the coach. They need to get rid of David Bell's dad as a fucking advisor to the GM.
Right.
I also think they need a new fucking owner too, but that's a little harder to do. But they need to change what's going on in the front office for sure, or we're never going to compete in it. I don't care if you win World Series. I just want you to compete. Show me that you're trying to compete.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like last year, we was like a game away from making the playoffs. Okay, I want, what I mean? Hey, we're competing. We were close, but then they blew it all up.
And that's really what makes you wonder, right? It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, and listen to this stat, because since May 7th until now, if you look at all the records of like everybody in the NL Central, the Brewers, the Cardinals, the Cubs, and the Reds would be 1 game out of first. But they had that terrible month of April where they went like 2 for 23, and that's what really killed them. But since then, they've played, basically had the same exact record as everybody else in their division. One game, they're one game under 500, since May.
That's crazy. You know what's interesting? I was looking at the Bleacher Report put out their power rankings on August, or actually came out today, and they still, for some reason, I don't know why they have this, but they actually have the Yankees still at number 1 in the power rankings, and I got to be honest with you, I don't agree with that. I think the Yankees actually kind of slid down to number 2. I think the Dodgers are at number 1, and I think the Astros are still staying firm at number 3. So I'm kind of curious. They got Seattle at number 8, Braves at number 7, Blue Jays at 6. 5 is the Mets, 4 the Padres, which actually moved up from 7, which kind of makes sense given, the trade deadline. So they were going to kind of jump up a little bit because of their massive improvements. Quite honestly, they did. And then they got the Dodgers at 3. And they actually dropped the Dodgers back 1. I don't know if that's the effects of losing Lamb and bringing on Gallo. I don't know, man. Maybe they felt like, what the hell? Again, and then, of course, the Astros, they did have them at one point ranked 1, but, now the Astros obviously at 2. And then they got the Yankees ranked at 1. And I don't know how you rank them at 1, given the fact that they lost, one of their starting pitchers in Montgomery, only to bring in Harrison freaking Bader, who's basically hitting around 240, 250. I mean, not even a great bat to really even bring in. Again, they brought in Montas. I mean, he's okay. He's not bad. And then they brought in Eberflus or whatever that dude's name is, the reliever. I don't know, man. I think they lost a little bit. They're talking about struggling at pitching depth, but then they let go of Montgomery. That doesn't make sense to me. Montas, I don't put a lot of faith in Montas because the Astros know Montas. So I don't know how they had them ranked at 1 when, in my opinion, they really brought in nobody. You can talk about Benintendi, but Benintendi, I don't. They have, they're bringing in a couple of bats, but you're not bringing in significant bats to what you already have. So I think that, to me, in my opinion, I think the Yankees neither lost nor advanced. I think they were more status quo before what they even went into the trade deadline. I think they just stayed the same. I don't think they got better. So I don't know how the Dodgers, who are number 1 right now, actually have a game lead over them. I don't know why they're putting them at 3 when clearly I think there's a little bit of bias. There's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I think Montas is a good pickup for him. They had to get a pitcher, and they wanted Castillo, and after they didn't get Castillo, and I'm still surprised that the Mariners went and got Castillo because that's just not like the Mariners to go do things like that. And
right,
and because in the Mariners, man, if they can make the playoffs, they're going to be a scary team in a 7-game series with that pitching they have. If with that pitching they have, and if their bats get going, they could be a scary team in the playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to make a deep run, but I'm just saying they can be with what they have, they could be a real scary team in a 7-game series because of their starting pitching. But
it's just beat the Yankees last night on a pretty good when Gilbert was pitching. Gilbert is a moderate marginal pitcher for those guys, so yeah, they did pretty well last night.
My dad had a question for you, Jay. If the Astros started 1-22, would they have fired their manager?
If they had started 1-22, would they have fired their manager? Yeah, I think they go to the interim. I don't think as good as Dusty is, I don't think Dusty's going to last 1-22. Given the lineup that Houston has, I think that there's definitely going to be some. If he's not being fired, he's definitely on the severe hot seat. I think Houston's too competitive to not remove him at that point.
And he says that because of this. The Reds started 1-22. They didn't fire David Bell, and David Bell's name hasn't been mentioned on the hot seat.
Again, I think when it comes to the Reds, I think the issue with the Reds is much more than just the coach. I think it goes to the general manager.
I do too. That's why I said they all need to go. But
yeah, they really need a dumpster fire and they need to recalibrate and think that organization out. Because the Reds aren't like an Orioles, where the Orioles are always typically just shit. They're typically just shit. And even the Seattle Mariners for the longest time have been shit. I mean, people don't understand. The last time that they had a winning record was back in 2001. I mean, this team has been shit forever. And now, even they turned around. So the Reds they have a good organization, or have had a good organization. It's just the last 5 years that they've been struggling.
Yeah, and what kills me about it is, Jay, is like, you look at that stat. Since May, they're right there at the top of their division. And then so at the trade deadline, instead of trying to make your team better, you blow it up all because you had a bad month of April. Why not improve the team, see where you end up at the end of the year, and then you're going and you should be better next year. But instead of doing that, you blow it up and let's start over. So it seems like every time they start to take a step forward, they take a step or two back. And hopefully, if we get a new GM, maybe that'll change.
Well, we'll definitely get them going in the right direction. I mean, I don't know what y'all's farm system looks like at this point, but like I was telling you earlier,
it should be pretty damn good. We just got 10 top prospects.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
So I think we're going to get better. It's just aggravating because it seems like they never give it a little bit of time to develop. They get in too big of a hurry for wanting success, and when it don't happen, they start over too quick sometimes, in my opinion. It's like a team starts doing good. Let's see where it can go. Let's go ahead and blow it up.
How old was Luis Castillo? Is he mid-20s?
I'll have to look that up.
I think Luis Castillo is probably mid-20s, 25, 26, I think is what he is. And they typically can pitch for till about 35, 36, maybe a little bit longer.
Who do you think's the let's see, he is 29.
Yeah, so I mean, he is kind of almost 30, and the Reds really aren't doing or going anywhere with where they are. So I don't necessarily blame them for trading Luis Castillo.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that part of it, but
it's going to take a while to develop a team to get them better. And by that time that happens, he may be either on the decline or maybe even almost out the league by the time they really. So I don't blame them for trading Luis Castillo.
Yes, Glenn, ownership is crap. You're 100% right there, Glenn.
Yeah.
So who do you think that coming out of the trade deadline, that any team that maybe that you didn't think was going to make a deep run in the playoffs now are in position to? Or do you still think it's basically the same teams that are?
I don't think any team out there necessarily really improved as much in terms of like I said, you got the top five, right? You got the Dodgers, the Padres, the Astros, the Yankees, and then you have the Mets. They're in there. On the AL side, outside of the Yankees and Astros, I just don't think anybody in AL really advanced enough to make it a difference between those two teams. On the NL side, like I said, I think that you got the Padres, who obviously now are going to be seriously competing against the Dodgers. You had St. Louis kind of stayed stagnant. Didn't really put too much into there. The Braves, they brought in Odorizzi. They brought in, I think, one of the guy. I got to be honest. I think it's still going to come down to the three teams: Mets, Dodgers, and Padres. And I think the Braves are going to be outside looking in terms of who's competitive. I don't know if anybody else in the National League outside of those teams that really made such a drastic change at the deadline that it would make a damn difference.
No, I think the only thing that maybe changes now, I look at the Padres as more of a contender than what I did before the trade deadline. But other than that, I really like the Mets. I know everybody's. Don't get me wrong, Dodgers are a real good team. They have, especially if you look at the numbers, for them to have the record they have this year, and guys like Muncy hasn't been playing real well, Bellinger hasn't been playing well. So I mean, just think if them two guys was hitting the ball well, where the Dodgers having to face that Dodgers lineup. But I like the Mets and getting DeGrom back. I know he didn't have a great first game back last night. They didn't pitch him very long either, but it's going to take a few games for him to get back in the mix. He hadn't played for a while, but I think with him coming back and the pitching staff the Mets have, I think the Mets are going to be a real threat when it comes playoff time.
Right. I think the Phillies brought in Syndergaard. They also brought in Robertson on the back end of that bullpen. So they obviously increased their pitching a little bit better. So I think they're going to be a wild card. I think I put them a comparable as to the Seattle Mariners. And I think it's going to be. I think this is going to be a wild card team. But they obviously those pitching things that they added on was a good deal for them. But yeah,
I think the Cardinals positioned themselves well to win the division because they got him. I can't remember the pitcher. But they got him They got him a starting pitcher, and then with what the Brewers did by getting rid of their closer, I think that kind of positioned the Cardinals to take the National League Central here the last half of the season.
Yeah, I mean,
because that's what the Cardinals were really missing was another starter. They only had two starters that were really pitching good. That was McCollus and Wainwright.
Yeah, I mean they missed out on Soto, which I know they were really trying to get to.
Well, they're really trying to get
Montas.
They're really trying to get Castillo as well, Jay. But the Reds wasn't going to let him go in the division. But I guess I had heard they offered like their top 4 or 5 prospects to the Reds for Castillo.
Yeah, I mean they needed pitching help, so they added Montgomery and Quintana. And of course they lost Bader, which I don't think is really a big hit to them. But I think their biggest need was addressed in that. However, they just weren't able to really make the big splash. I think that they were really trying to get ahead of the Brewers in that National League Central. I still think the Brewers may be a little bit ahead of the Cardinals, but
you still like the Brewers ahead of the Cardinals, even with the Brewers giving up their closer?
Well, they still got the number 2 closer. It's not like they didn't dip down incredibly. And I'm not saying the Brewers are going to win that. I think, in my opinion, between the Cardinals and the Brewers, I think it's a wash. I don't know that we really.
Oh care. It's going to be close, but I just think. Yeah. I think with the Cardinals adding that pitching, to me, that gives them a little bit of an advantage. But yeah, it's going to be close.
Yeah, so they got Rogers, they got Danielson, Lamet, and then they got 2 solid prospects. I just feel like, they didn't make enough. Neither did the Cardinals really make enough to really say there's a huge gap of separation between those 2 teams. And that's why I just don't. I mean, I think that's kind of a moot point. I think they made the wild cards, but I don't think it really goes anything beyond that.
And then the American League, I still think it's Yankees and Astros. And then I do think the Mariners improved their chances of trying to get to the playoffs and everything. I kind of thought you might see the Rays do something. They really didn't do much.
No. I really thought so too, considering I believe are they right behind or if close to being behind the Yankees, I believe, aren't they? They should be pretty close to being in that wild card hunt. Let me pull that up. I know Seattle, I think Seattle, either Seattle or Toronto, I believe, has the top spot.
Yeah, Toronto's been hot after the All-Star break.
Yeah, they're definitely heating up. So when you go to the standings here, let me pull this up real quick. So we got wild cards. Toronto, right now, Toronto and Seattle have the top 2 wild card spots. And then Tampa Bay is right at dead even. And then, of course, Cleveland is 1 game back. Yeah. So Tampa is literally at the cusp of a wild card. And I guess their team must figure that they have enough to get over that hump, even though me personally, I probably would make a tweak or 2 here or there. But I guess Tampa feels like they have enough that they can compete with Seattle and Toronto for that wild card.
Yeah.
That's crazy, though. That is just crazy. And then, of course, San Diego and Atlanta on the other flip side, they got the wild card right now, respectively. And then Philadelphia, St. Louis are tied at neck and neck at 55 and 48. So they're sitting right behind Atlanta and San Diego for that. So, man, what a time to be alive. And then I think the Brewers are 2 games up on Seattle. And like I said, I don't think there's enough separation between Milwaukee and St. Louis that would change that. So I kind of see Milwaukee finishing that out. I could be wrong, but I think they finish that out, and I think St. Louis is going to have to suffer that wild card.
Yeah, I mean, it could very well happen. NFL got preseason starting tomorrow night with the Hall of Fame game. Do you watch the Hall of Fame game?
I didn't watch. I've watched it a couple of times. I didn't watch it last year. I don't know if I'll watch it this year either. As long as it depends on if the Astros are playing when that game is on. I don't put too much.
I probably won't. I mean, they've already announced that Trevor Lawrence isn't playing.
Yeah,
Etienne isn't playing. I'll be honest. I don't watch much of the preseason. It's hard. It's hard to watch. You don't know a lot of the players.
It is because honestly,
I watch it sometimes, but if you know what I mean, I'm like you. If the Reds were in playoff contention, I'd be watching the Reds before I'm going to watch the preseason Colts game. But now a Colts regular season game, hey, I'm watching every one of them.
Well, the only reason why you watch preseason, truthfully, is just to see what you have from the second round, third round, fourth round. All those selections that you pick that, those potential players, you want to kind of see what they have in them. That's really about the only reason you're watching preseason. If you watch preseason, you're not watching preseason because there's competitiveness to it or the games matter. You're just watching preseason to see what you have after all the stars are set aside, and then you see what you have left over. And really, the only reason they have preseason is so that the coaches can decide who they're going to cut and who they're going to keep. I mean, that's really about the only reason for a preseason game.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I was leading right into this. Do you think that the NFL should shorten the preseason?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Do I think they should shorten it? You know what? No, I'm going to say keep it the way it is because I think when you shorten it, I think it really puts a harder decision on the coaches to make the right decision for who to keep and who to let go. Because sometimes a player may need, a couple more games, or they may be on the fence between this guy and this guy. And, if you don't have enough game footage to watch them, they could make the wrong decision. So I think you should keep at least 4 games. I think preseason should be at least 4 games. So that way these coaches can make the right evaluations on who they keep and don't keep.
I think they should go down to 2 games.
Of course you would. Why would you agree with me? You've never agreed with me. You're like freaking Frankie the Yankee.
But here's my reason. Go down to 2 games. Don't play your starters. Play the young guys so you can see what you got with your young guys, and then let's get the season started because most of your starters don't play at all in the preseason anyway. So why do we need 4 or 5 games? Just do 2 games and only play your young guys, the guys that you're trying to make this decision if they're going to make the team or not.
Right. The only reason you play your starters is to get them game time conditioning, but these guys don't need game time conditioning. They don't.
I said most of them don't play. Most of the starting quarterbacks don't play at all in the preseason anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because you got to play a damn 18-game schedule. You're not going to throw them out there, and God forbid, if a freak accident, you just never know. I mean,
that's why I think maybe shorten it to 2 or 3 games and just play your young guys. Don't play none of your veterans and see who you got. Or they're getting ready to go in this partnership with the XFL. You can, what they need to do is basically turn the XFL into almost your minor leagues, and then like baseball has, and then you wouldn't need these 3 or 4 preseason games.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I mean, if they want to do a farm system, if the football wants or NFL wants to come up with the farm system and make the XFL their farm system, I mean, I'm sure the Rock and all those. I think the Rock's the one that owns that, right? I don't think they're really going to care. I mean,
well, they're already starting to do a partnership with the NFL, so I'm saying why not just
coming their way? They're not going to care.
No, because they're going to get money from the NFL for it, and people will watch it. I'll watch it. I'd watch the Indianapolis Colts farm team if it's the XFL, so I could see what their young players look like. You know what I mean? And the games will be more competitive because they're playing for a playoffs and they're playing a whole regular season instead of just a 3-game preseason.
So then I guess I would also eliminate, if they did do something like that, that would probably eliminate the practice squad too. Because why you got a practice squad? You might as well throw them down there. That's pretty much where most of your promising players are. They keep them on the practice squad. So
yeah,
if they don't cut them, they just put them on the practice squad.
So basically, it'd be almost basically like your practice squad is playing in the XFL.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. Hey, listen, man, I'm okay with that. If you want to put the project players down there in the XFL, let them get that game experience, what have you. It's not bad.
And you can keep the XFL like it is. You could keep the XFL like it is, where they play in the springtime. So that way, then players can play their games in the springtime. And then if you need any of them to move any of them up, it's not going to affect you when NFL starts.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. That's actually going to generate money for the XFL and the NFL. So, and it's so I don't think that's going to be an issue one way or the other. And like you said, it's going to continue to develop those young guys that, maybe didn't make the actual team, but could have, but show great potential. So, yeah, I don't see a problem with that. At the end of the day, I thought it was kind of interesting that they had these new helmets they're wearing in training camp. These soft helmets. I think they
over the top of their other helmet. Yeah, I saw that.
It's the most.
It does look ridiculous, doesn't it?
In my life, but
hey, I guess it's supposed to really help. But yeah, I was like, I first saw, I was like, what in the hell? And I was like, oh, okay, I remember hearing about those. I'm like, what the hell?
Well, so they're designed to prevent concussions during during the preseason. The problem with it, and I think Salah, the coach for the Jets, brought up a good point. Is you get these guys, with these helmets on, and it almost trains them to start using their head more than what they should. So it actually develops bad tackling and techniques and things like that. So
bad
they
habits,
go to take those things off, and they go to just a hard helmet. Now their body's not used to getting hit like that because they were used to the soft hit. So I think there's a lot of good things, but also a lot of bad things, and that could come from that. I think personally, they should just get rid of that stupid crap. And just go back to the way they've always done it. And it just is what it is. Concussions are part of the game. It just is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It sucks when you get a concussion, but that's just a risk you take when you play the game. I mean, I've had a concussion before. I got a concussion wrestling. And hey, it was part of it. Did it suck? Yeah, it sucked for about a week or week and a half. I didn't feel right, but
right.
Hey, I was fine
after that. There's a reason why those NFL players are making 7+ figures a year. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a trade-off. The trade-off to making mega dollars.
The risk is worth the reward. I mean, you know what I mean? The risk is worth what you're getting paid. Hell, you pay me $4 or $5 million. Hey, if I get a concussion, I get a fucking concussion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And a lot, honestly, I think if I was going to come into the league and play in the NFL, I'll be honest with you, man. I think I come in, I'll play about, maybe 6-7 years.
Make that money and get out.
I make enough money to live comfortably on, and then I retire and go do something else. Because I really don't need $100 million. If I got $10 million, I'm good forever. I'll go off. I'll be good. You'll never hear about me. I'm good. And no,
I'm building me
I'm still healthy.
I'm building me a log cabin. I'm building me a log cabin out in some land, and I'm disappearing.
I mean, if you just take care of your money and budget your money and live within your means, $10 million can last you several lifetimes.
Yeah, you can live from month to month off the interest.
Exactly. Well, that's my point. Interest, investments. I mean, you're going to pay your house off, so it's not like you're having a house note. So, I mean,
if you're smart with it,
you don't have to go buy the luxury mansion, $500-600 grand, pay it off, and be done with it. Have a really nice house to live in.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, I'm probably not even living in the house a lot. I'm probably gonna be traveling. I'm gonna get me an RV. I'm gonna go see the world, and I'm gonna live beneath my means.
Oh yeah, I'd buy me one of them big RVs and I'd travel because I'd like to go to every Major League Baseball stadium.
Right. You can get to a really nice RV for 200 grand, brand new, with a diesel engine, and you can live nice, and you can still have a really nice, $400,000 or $500,000 house. You're still well under the million.
Oh yeah.
And it's all paid off, and you still got $9 million more to invest, or $4 to $5 million to invest, and then just pay for your gas and just go travel and everything's paid. You're good. Chill.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm doing. I don't have to have a $2 million house or $5 million, $500,000-600,000. I'm good. That's at least a 3,000 square foot house.
And honestly,
be nice.
And honestly, the NFL and even the Players Association, they're not worried about concussions as much as they act like they do, because
right.
If they did, you know what I mean? If they did, they wouldn't be let's extend the season more games. They'd be trying to shorten the preseason. They'd be trying to shorten the season some, not make more games, because it's all about the money.
Right. And a lot of times these guys that get all this money, a lot of athletes nowadays, I think they're getting better about taking care of their money. Some of them, they really do a good job, but a lot of these kids aren't taking care of their money, and those are the ones that are, they're living that nice
I think that's something
that they have that $1 million worth of jewelry. I don't know why you need $1 million worth of jewelry, but
so I think that's something that we need to be teaching in our high schools and stuff, is about managing money and stuff like that more. Because
that's true.
We really don't prepare these kids for when they get out of high school and go to college and they're on their own to know how to manage their money, so they're not broke, and you know what I mean, live and being able to live.
I think the NFL, when you become a rookie, I think you're required to go through classes. I think to help you manage the money and to help you manage, interviews and things like that takes me in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I think they do get some training in the NFL, but I don't think.
I know they do in the NFL, but I'm just talking about as a country in general. It would help our whole country if we done that and start teaching kids at a younger age about the value of money and how to handle it and stuff like that. So they're more informed when they get out on their own, when they go to college and they're out on their own, and they start start working toward building their own career. They have more knowledge of how to manage their money, so they have that longevity.
So they don't have like a 400 credit score, and they can't realize why they're paying 22% interest when they want to go buy a car.
You know what I mean? Because that's something that when you get first out of school, you don't know all that stuff.
Oh man, they don't. Yeah, they don't teach the values and how to manage and how to invest. And these kids nowadays, they just want to go, buy rims, and they want to live, car rich, and then I don't know, man, whatever. I see it out here at Fort Stewart all the time, man. These young soldiers spending all this money on cars and things like that. And I'm like, bro, save your money. What the hell are you doing?
I swear I was just speaking about this. Wow. Yeah, it's something I've thought about for a while, because it just seems like we could prepare not just our athletes, but our whole country for more success if we change some of the stuff we do with our education system.
Yeah, again, we're not teaching kids how to build generational wealth. All they see are these athletes, sporting these chains and whips and houses. I remember when MTV Cribs was out and everybody was looking at these cribs, this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking like, man, what kind of message are we really sending these kids? We should be sending them, how to get money for college, go to college, how to spend money, how to diversify your portfolio so you're making money rather than spending money. And you give a kid a debit card and they'll run it into the ground within the first 2 days. I mean,
oh yeah,
trying to do that stuff, man.
Well, also in the NFL, Deshaun Watson got suspended 6 games. The NFL has till tomorrow, I think at 9 a.m, if I remember correctly, to decide if they want to appeal or not. I know if you listen to the reports on a lot of these or shows on TV and some of the stuff you read on the internet, a lot of people are pushing for the NFL to appeal, and a lot of them think they're going to because they say they don't have a choice. I think otherwise. I don't think the NFL appeals. And my reasoning for it is if they appeal, the decision goes back to Roger Goodell's desk.
Right.
But the whole point of hiring an outside judge was so Roger Goodell didn't have to make these decisions anymore. That's what the players agreed on and the owners agreed on. So now, this is the first time that this process has happened with using this judge. And then if you appeal her decision, well, what was the point of having her do it? Because you could have just made whatever decision you wanted to. So I think the NFL's in a hard spot here where I don't think they appeal, because I think if they appeal, it just makes them look even worse. But if they don't appeal, they're also going to have to deal with some of the backlash from that. But like, I'm on the side. I think 6 games was plenty. I know you think he should have got at least, I think 12 is what you said.
Yeah. And I was just basing that on you know what some of the other athletes have gotten. I again, there's a lack of consistency in the NFL for what punishments look like, and that's the problem. That's the problem we had. Like I said, there needs to be an SOP put out for conduct policy, and it should be divided into, okay, if you're convicted, this will be your punishment for said offense. And every offense should have a number of games or money fines attached to it. That is a standard operating procedure, as well as if you're found innocent of those charges, then this punishment will carry this number of games and this fine. And it should be for every offense that's out there, there should be a designated number of games to where, and again, the NFL players, the NFL come together, they can have an arbitrator or mediator, whatever, and they come up to a consensus of what those punishments look like, so that when something does happen, we can say, okay, was he convicted of the crime? Okay, go to column A and see what it says. If he's not convicted of the crime, but he's still accused of it, okay, go to column B, and this is what there needs to be something in black and white that says it's set standard for all these offenses, to where it's just right across the board, and we're not having to wonder how many games he's going to get. It should be an SOP for that. Yeah, I don't understand why there's not one.
There's too much gray area in it.
Yeah,
there's too much gray area in it, and because that's what that judge basically said was the precedent you have already set for domestic violence is 6 games. So, and I don't see no reason to make a new precedent. So that's why she gave him 6 games. Well, if you have a guideline, you know what I mean, then it's like you're saying, then there's no gray area. You know what I mean? You know what's basically going to happen. Right now, there's so much gray area. I mean, look, for a year and a half, we've been wondering how many games Watson was going to get. And it was going from people saying 3 years to people saying 4 games to people saying 6, 12. No, you know what I mean? Nobody knew. Where if there's a guideline, it wouldn't take a year and a half to settle it. Just get it in, you know what I mean?
Right.
Do your investigation, decide what he's guilty of, give him his punishment, and move on. They've dragged it out in my opinion, way too long. But I just don't see the NFL appealing. Do you think they're going to appeal?
No, I don't. I think they're going to move on. I think this is just going to be what it is. And no, I don't think the NFL appeals. Real quick, to what Javi, is that his name? Javi? What he was saying about, starting classes outside of school. I think what needs to happen, and it really kind of starts at the parental level. And if you don't have a parent, then the NFL should maybe even appoint it. Is you have a coach that teaches you how to play football. They need a coach that teaches them how to take care of their money from playing football. And so I think, if nothing else, they should be handing them out. I know Charles Schwab, they have financial planners. Every Fidelity has a financial. All these different investment agencies, they all have financial planners that help you to guide your money in certain directions so you can take care of it. And I think the NFL should require these players to take these classes, that so they can understand. And I got to be honest with you, even for these kids that are coming out of low-income housing, low-income areas. You know, if I'm them, I get it, man. They never had money before. They have money now. But I'm thinking if I'm the parent of that kid, I'm like, hey, bro, we need to figure out how to take care of this money. We ain't never had it before. Now we got it. We need to figure out how we can preserve it so we don't wind up back in this spot. And if I'm a parent, I'm gonna be in my kids' lives, and I'm gonna make sure that they have these financial planners come to. I think LeBron probably had that when he first came out from Cleveland. He had a lot of people around him that helped him with financial plans, things like that, and they got him in the right track. But anyway, it is what it is. Going back to what we were talking about here. With the judge, I think 12 games, in my opinion, is the right amount. I think I don't know how a guy who bets on sports gets more games than or even a guy who made a bad call or whatever on the field gets more games than a guy who's been accused of sex allegations. To me, I can't compute that. I can't equate that.
And the G report, our buddy Greg says, I agree. A financial / life coach is what these players need.
And I think, and I think if I'm these owners of these NFL, MLB, NBA teams, any kind of, thing like that, I'm gonna have my own financial planners, or I'm gonna have my own life coaches on staff that can help these guys navigate, issues that could come their way on a personal level and a financial level. Because honestly, things that happen to them on a personal level, things that happen on a financial, all that affects their play on the field. So I think to take care of the athlete, to take care of the sports franchise, why would they not provide them with a life coach and or mentor and a financial planner and or mentor? I think you're taking care of the athlete and you're taking care of the organization, both on that level. So yeah, man, and they don't cost much for these planners. These planners they're not expensive, man. You can get them. Because all the cases she looked at, 5 out of the 20. I get that.
That's what the NFL gave her, because the NFL tried to give her what the 4 or 5 cases that was going to make Watson look the worst, because they were trying to get the year suspension.
Yeah.
So she looked at what that they gave her. I don't see another reason I don't see him appealing, because if they appeal it, then Watson and them are going to Watson and his attorney are going to sue. So then it's just going to drag out longer, and NFL don't want this go kind of overshadowing the season in a way. You know what I mean? They're going to want this to end before.
Just came out instead of giving it to that judge. Goodell should have came out and said, "Okay, I'm going to give you 12 games. I'm going to give you a year. Just come out with it. That way you don't have to backtrack on it. If you really want to give me a year, give me a year." Look, here's the deal. This is the way I look at it, Gonzo. If it had been 3 or 4 cases, hell, even 5 cases, and he beats 5 cases, I'm like, you know what? 4 to 6 games. These women, they could be lying. Okay, maybe 4 to 5 cases, whatever. But when you got 25 freaking cases, man, and it's not even at the NFL facility, it's in some shady looking hotel room, whatever it is. To me, that's just way too many women. Way too many. I mean, that's gross amount of women that have come forward that you have to almost say, no, this is a little bit more than just 3 or 4 women. I mean, you got, a classroom of women, coming forward saying you did this. So I think we got to give you a year in order to set the precedent that this isn't acceptable.
Yeah, but the problem is you hired this judge, so you didn't have to make the decision.
No, I get it. That's what I'm saying.
First time she does it,
you can do about it now. I mean, it is.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they can appeal, because it makes them look so weak if they appeal, because you made this decision to hire this judge, so you didn't have to. And now that you don't agree with her judgment, you want to appeal it so you can make the decision. Well, hell, you should have just made the damn decision to begin with.
No, Again, I agree with you. I personally think that Goodell could still go back and do the damn thing, because let's be honest, who elects the commissioner? The owners. The owners ain't getting rid of Goodell. They love Goodell. Goodell could go back and do it if he wanted. Owners aren't going to get pissed off. They're not going to remove him. He'll keep his job. He'll still be making money. I don't think it one way or the other. Now, do I think unless he's just concerned about his reputation on a personal level, maybe that's why he doesn't do it. But from a job security level, he could. If he wanted to do that thing, he could do it if he wanted.
And then also in the NFL, you had wide receiver James Washington for the Cowboys had a real bad injury. That put you guys in a tough situation. Do you think maybe the Cowboys will look for a free agent or somebody on the market for a wide receiver to try to strengthen that core up a little bit?
I mean, honestly, I wish they go make, like I said, I wish they make a qualifying offer to AB. I'd bring AB for 5-6 games, however long it takes to get Gallo
What about
back. Even a year, I'll give a year, whatever. But
what about OBJ?
I think OBJ's out 7 games though. That's why I don't think I'm making qualifying. I don't think he can help me right away. I'd rather just do it. If I'm gonna give out that qualifying.
Oh, he's out 7 games.
AB. Yeah, I think he's still gonna be out a little longer with that injury. I think I go to AB. AB is gonna come in healthy, and I give him a 1-year, vet minimum, whatever it is. Put him on the squad for a year, and if he pans out and he does great, maybe I keep him. And if he doesn't, well, I just let him go. Whatever the case may be, but he's gonna help me out a lot more than the 7 or 8, non-name.
If he's there, you don't know if he's going to be there or not. With that dude, with all the baggage he's bringing.
But again, that's why you give him the 1-year vet minimum. And if he don't show, and maybe you put in incentive laden, right? You put a lot of incentives on there to entice him to want to.
Now I can see it like that. If it's like a 1 year and it's basically mostly an incentive deal, it's basically a prove it deal.
Yeah,
I would take the chance on him then.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't give him a bunch of money.
But Jerry's already come out they've already kind of come out and said in that last article that they had no plans on offering any free agents, any deals. Jerry he was more than happy to ride out with these 6 guys, on these new guys and see what pans out, what doesn't pan out. Now, they didn't close it out and say that they weren't going to do it, but they said most likely that it wouldn't go that direction.
And then also, do you think the NFL got the punishment right for the Dolphins in that tampering investigation? Yeah. They came out, they were getting them for tampering with Brady and Sean Payton. They said they didn't find no evidence that the owner was offered to pay the coach to tank. I still think there was evidence. I just don't think they want that out there, in my opinion.
Possibly.
Possibly. But I don't know. I just don't understand. A first-round pick's a big deal because the Dolphins' whole plan was, let's see what Tua has this year. If he don't improve, then we can use these 2 first-round picks that we have next year to move up and get one of these young quarterbacks. Well, now you're not going to have a first-round pick, and if you have a bad season this year, that could be end up being maybe a first, second, third pick or something that you lose. So that's a big deal. They fined the owner, and then I think they suspended him indefinitely or something.
Right.
Like we talked,
a fine. I think like a $2 million fine. I think.
Like we talked, what does the owner really do for day-to-day football operations? Not a whole hell of a lot. Day-to-day football operations are handled by your coach, GM. Most owners, other than the owner of your team, you don't see them at practice all the time or talking in the media all the time. Most owners you don't hear nothing from hardly. So I don't think it's going to be a big deal that he got a thing. I'm interested to see what happens because the Flores cases are still out there. So we should still find out some more information. So I don't know. I think they gave him a pretty good punishment. I'm not real mad at it. I guess I would like to see what else comes out, and then I'd be able to judge it more, because if it does come out where Flores shows proof and everything, and it's like, hey, now the NFL was just trying to cover this up a couple months ago, it's going to make the NFL look really bad.
Shut up, Damien. We're not bringing back T.O. Be quiet. Damn, idiot. Hey, here's the deal with that, man. Again, like we talked about earlier on this subject matter, the owner getting in depth. Doesn't matter. He's there to write checks. He's got day-to-day operational people that take care of that. So that's not going to affect the team at all. The $2 million fine, nobody cares about that. That's not going to affect them either. The only thing that really affects them is the first round pick they give up in 23 and the third round pick they give up, I believe, in 24. But again, like I was telling you, they will pay for it in the long run because they won't have the first round pick this year. And if they did, or in 23, and if they did want to jump in, like I was telling you, they did want to jump in to get a quarterback in 23, they're going to have to give up first round picks in 24, 25, 26, whatever, to entice them to be able to move up. So now you're looking at not only if they did that, now you're looking at no first rounder in 23, no first rounder 24, 25. I mean, you're looking at 4 rounds of draft or 4 drafts of no first round pick. So on the long end, it could affect them. But if they really wanted to still go out and get that quarterback, they could still do it. It's just going to affect them in later drafts.
Yep. But I mean, do you think the NFL gave him a hard enough punishment, or do you think it should have been more?
I think it should have been more, man. Honestly, I thought it should have been instead of that third rounder in 24. I thought they should have, did maybe a first round and a second round in 23. I think I'm, or even 2 first rounders, 1 for each offense. 2023 first round, 2024 first round. I think that would have made a more impactful statement than a first and a third, a $2 million fine, and the owner in death. I think those draft picks, those first round draft picks, carry more weight.
Honestly, I kind of think it's weird because I kind of think like their coach should have got suspended for a year, like they did when the Bounty Gate and stuff happened. But in this situation, you really can't do that because the guy that was the coach isn't the coach no more.
Right.
And the guy that the coach is basically accusing, what I mean? So you can't really do that. So that's why I wasn't real mad about the punishment. But now if it comes out and NFL's covering up stuff, then I'm going to be like, well, that's punishment should have been a lot worse. You know what I mean?
And also remember, Flores' case hasn't been decided yet. So this
that's what I mean.
On this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want to see what comes out in that Flores case.
Oh yeah, it's still out there, just dangling in the wind. So there's more to come on this. This is just the beginning of it, I believe. Just the beginning.
Oh man, some of the stupid stuff that these teams do just don't. I know some of the rules on talking to players and stuff seem stupid, but you got to abide by them. I mean, if you don't, stuff like this is going to happen, and it might get to a point where the NFL is going to have to step up and make the penalty more to discourage teams from doing it.
Yeah,
because if it's just a first round pick, if it's just a first round pick and I'm terrible, but I might have a chance to get Tom Brady. Fuck, I'll tamper my ass off try to get Tom Brady. You can take a first round pick from me because I'm getting my guy. You know what I mean? Right. So I can see you might want to make the penalty a little steeper because if there's a big free agent out there, fuck, I'm gonna talk to him all I want to. I get caught, and it's just gonna cost me a first round pick, but if I have this guy, that first round pick's not gonna matter.
Oh, absolutely. No, I agree with you. It's a risk reward type system. So you're going to put that risk out there. I still think losing a first round pick, man, you lose 2 first round picks. That hurts. I don't care who you are.
It hurts.
And you don't get Brady too. Damn. I think he can still sign checks. I mean, I don't even think he even signs the checks. I'm sure it probably comes out of an account and they have an operational finance or a CFO that writes those damn checks.
I'll just say whoever CEO or CFO is probably deals with all that. All he does is look in his bank account and see how much money he made each month.
That's right. I think what they're saying is that the owner just can't be on premises and he can't have no operational control. I mean, finances is still finances though.
Yeah. But I'm sure he has somebody, like you said, a CFO or
Oh, you know he
Somebody
has
like that takes care of all that.
Oh, he ain't dealing with them finances on a day-to-day basis. He ain't got time for that mess. He probably don't even know how. Nah, they definitely got people to handle that mess.
If I owned a team, I wouldn't be taking care of none. I'd be out playing golf with my buddies, drinking some beer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They got accountants on those payrolls that do nothing but take care of people's checks.
If you want to trade for somebody, you need approval. Just give me a call. I'll get with you. Other than that, leave me alone. I'm going out here and drinking some beer and playing some golf and enjoying my day.
Playing beer pong, baby. Beer pong. Let's go.
No, man, I'm ready for football. It's going to be interesting. Who do you have as Super Bowl favorites? If you had to pick a Super Bowl favorite, or way too early Super Bowl favorite, who you think?
I mean, I think the easy choice would be to say, Bills Rams. But I think the Rams are coming into the Super Bowl out of the NFC. I just don't think anybody's going to stop the Rams this year. I think the real question is who joins them out of the AFC. I think the AFC is a lot more undecided. So I'm probably gonna choose somebody. If it's not the Bills, I'm gonna go somebody at the AFC West. I can see the Chargers leapfrogging up there with that defense and the offense the way it is. Maybe they get up in there and surprise the Chiefs. Maybe they surprise the Bills. Cincinnati obviously could still get back in there, but it's gonna be harder for them, I think, to repeat. So I'm gonna go Chargers. I'm gonna go Chargers Rams.
Ooh. I'm gonna go with the Bills. I think the Bills are gonna win it all. I think the Bills will get out of the AFC, and then I think it's either going to be the Rams or the Bucks that's going to represent the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
But I know they got Tom Brady back, but the Rams really haven't lost a whole lot. So I gotta go with the Rams getting there to try to repeat. Like I said, with the way too early prediction, but I'm gonna go Rams and Bills in the Super Bowl, and the Bills winning it all.
Hey, I'm gonna put it out there right now. My dark horse is Minnesota.
Yep, I like Minnesota as well, and I like the and then in the AFC, I really like the Chargers could be up there. I like the improvements they made. I mean, there's a lot of teams in the AFC that could be there besides the Bills. I think the AFC is a lot deeper than the NFC.
Yeah. And I mean, and you don't know what's really going to be of the Browns until we get to week 6. Because Deshaun comes back the 23rd. If it stays in it, he comes back on the 23rd against the Ravens is when his first game will be. And I think it's possible for them to go 5-1, even though I know Frank, you don't want to hear that. It's possible that they go 5-1. And in the worst case, they go 4-2.
You had to beat
5-1, and you get Deshaun back. Woo!
You had to beat New England, didn't you?
Huh?
Is New England one of the teams you had them beaten?
Man, hey, Frankie was so upset when I said that about the New England.
Oh, Frank,
he could not believe I said that.
Hey, Frankie's on here, so he'll be yelling at you here in a minute.
Yeah, exactly. I know Frankie's on here, and I'm still saying it, Frankie. Hey, 5-1, baby, man. You watch out for these Browns, man. I'm telling you.
Damien says Rams and Bengals too.
And it could be, man. I mean, hey, the Bengals, they didn't lose nobody. I mean, who's to say they can't make it back?
Damien said y'all smoking if you think the Vikings are good. The Vikings are a good team. They're going to be a good team this year.
That just tells me that Damien doesn't watch a lot of football. That's all that tells me. Damien doesn't watch enough football. He needs to watch more football.
Frankie, I don't need to say anything. We beat them last year, and they had a better team.
I just like getting underneath Frankie's
bloodline. We talked about Watson, but let's talk about the Browns for a minute. Do you think that Brissett's going to be, with Brissett as a starter, that the Browns are going to be able to play well enough to still be in the running for when Watson to come in to make the playoffs?
Yeah, I think, like I said, 4-2, 5-1, however you want to play that. I mean, they're going to be above 500 I believe they would be above 500 when Watson joins them, and he'll just pick up where Brissett left off. Now, I will say this: if they're 6-0, the better question is, do you pull a hot Brissett if they're 6-0 to insert Watson? I mean, that's a hard thing to do if you're 6-0, and the Patriots were in there, and I forget the other team that I think was a Buffalo. Somebody else was in there that made that. There was 2 teams that I knew they were going to struggle against, but
Dude, if they were to go 6-0,
yeah,
I'm not putting Watson in yet. I'm letting Brissett stay. Even though I think Watson's a better quarterback, but the problem is you bring in Watson, he hasn't played for over a year and a half. He might not play well his first game or so.
right.
So you bring him in and you lose, man. You know what I mean? Then people are going to say, well, why did you take Brissett out? So it's a tough situation, but I think I would maybe – I guess it depends on what he looks like in practice, I guess, too. But
that shows you and that proves that I got it up underneath Frankie's skin, because then he comes back with Dallas starts off 2-4, and that's not even factual. That's just an emotional decision based on me saying that the New England was going to lose to the Browns. Frankie, don't let your emotions get the better of you. Keep it.
It's an emotional decision.
That was an emotional decision on his part. And they always say, rule number 1 in podcasting: don't get emotional. Don't get emotional. Frankie, be better. Do better, Frankie. Do better. How about the Seattle Mariners, Frankie?
Oh, shit.
Now, Frankie's going to come back and say, well, how about that Boston? And I agree. How about them Bostons?
But I think the Browns need to, in my opinion, they need to at least, if they can go 3-3, if they can go 3-3 without Watson, they will be I think they'll be in good decent enough shape to still try to make the playoffs. But if they go like 1-5, I think it's going to be real hard for them to dig out of that hole, just because you don't know what to expect from Watson in his first couple of games back. But so I think they need to at least go 500 in those first 6 games.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they're going to be above 500. Watson comes back. And I do think, ultimately they're going to wind up giving him the job, because you can't pay him $230 million guaranteed. They're not put the man on the field unless I said they go 6-0, and of course that would be the only factor in him not playing. To what Frankie said, I don't get emotional. He said he said he looked at my schedule, and I get it, Frankie. You're right. Hey, we do have a tough right off the get schedule, so. 2-4. I don't think we go 2-4. I think the first 6 games, I think we come out probably 500. I think we come out 500. But to Frankie's point, man, hey, they do have a tough schedule, so I'm not going to say they don't.
You think how you think Dak Prescott's going to look with this receiving core?
Oh, for the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what you got in CD. You kind of know what you got in Tolbert. The other 6 that are going to be vying for those spots during training camp, I don't know enough about them to even make a prediction. So I figure, okay, look, you got two positions are going to be okay. You got Gallup probably coming back in 4 to 5 weeks, so eventually you'll have a third solid. But really, the interim between him coming back, you got to fill 2 more positions. So they got a 2 out of 6 chance to hit pay dirt with those 6 guys. So, you're not going to know anything until training camp. But, sometimes you find those 2 diamonds in the rough. You never know.
To Frankie's point, are you worried about the new offensive line?
They still have Martin. They still have Smith on that offensive line. So really looking at the other 3 spots with Baez and Steele. And I forgot who the third one they put in there. I think it's a new guy. I wouldn't say overly concerned, but I would say moderately. Yeah, I'm moderately concerned because I want to see, how the other 2 guys, Steele and Baez, pan out. So, yeah, I would say moderately concerned. And that is a good point about the O-line. So I agree. I mean, I'm more concerned about the O-line, not so much from Dak's perspective, but from Zeke and Pollard's perspective on how well they can run that ball. So, yeah, with the O-line, in terms of the running game, you're right. I am moderately concerned.
Zeke ain't been running for a couple years.
Man, I know, man. And again, I think this is a make it or break it for even possibly Zeke. I mean, do they cut him? Do they trade him?
I hope he plays better because I don't understand what happened, man. He looked like the best running back in the league, and he got paid, and ever since then, it hasn't been the same level of Zeke.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. And I think some of it has to do with his conditioning. I know he hasn't been coming into camp the best he should be. So some of it, I think, is the O-line. And some of it, I think, is just Zeke himself. And there's some of it is they don't run the ball enough. But then again, if Zeke's not producing, how do you run? So, yeah.
And sometimes, man, and it happens to a lot of people. Sometimes you get that money and you kind of lose that hunger that you had that made you that player you were. You know what I mean? Sometimes
I totally agree with you. I don't disagree one bit with that. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
But I do agree with you that sometimes they throw the ball way too damn much and should be giving the ball to Zeke and Pollard. There is something to that because they do that way too much sometimes. They get into just throwing the ball all the time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think, again, some of it comes down to just coaching, play calling. I mean, McCarthy, whatever. Dallas has issues, and not all of it is player related. Some of it's just upper level related, and that's the issue I have with them. No, could Kellen Moore get a head coaching job? Yeah, he could. He's a yes man. He fits a job.
I would say maybe another 2. I'd say maybe another 2 or 3 years, maybe before he gets a head coaching job. What do you think, Jay? You think he'll get one here quick, or I would say at least another couple of years, 2 or 3 more years.
I don't think he leaves Dallas, to be honest with you.
You think he might turn into Dallas head coach?
I think I put it out there extensively that I want Sean Payton as the coach. I don't know how much more clear I can make that. But if they don't go with Sean, then and McCarthy doesn't do as well as he should do this year, I could see him being replaced with Kellen Moore. And they go with Kellen Moore and give him a shot. I don't think Jerry lets Kellen Moore go. I think he, the consensus is Jason Garrett went from offense coordinator, took over for Wade Phillips when Wade Phillips was done. And I think the same thing will happen with Kellen Moore taking over from McCarthy. And I think that's how we're going to see that play out.
I could see that because Kellen Moore had a chance to leave and go be the offensive coordinator somewhere else.
Right.
Or a head coach in college, I think even. And he decided to stay there in Dallas. So I agree. I think Jerry Jones will do everything in his power to try to keep him there. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he ends up a head coach at Dallas, especially if they don't get Sean Payton. Now, if they get Sean Payton, he ain't going to get the head coach because Sean Payton will be there for a while. But I could see him maybe getting that head coach job after McCarthy because who knows what's going to happen. I mean, if Payton comes back, I don't know if he'll come back or not. But if he comes back, I wish the Colts would get him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Dude's one of the better coaches there is.
And that's yeah, exactly right. That's it. Jerry Jones is 80. That man ain't gonna live forever. I just hope that when his time comes, the reins are gonna go down to Stephen Jones. That's just the way it's gonna happen. And I really hope Stephen chooses a different philosophy for running the team than what his dad did. I hope Stephen is smart enough to say, you know what, I'm going to kind of be more like Robert Kraft, and I'm going to get me a GM, and not necessarily a GM coach, but I'm going to get an actual GM, and we're going to do a new direction with this Cowboys team. That's really what I hope for, and I hope it happens before I die.
He said, I hope it happens before I die.
I just want to see the Cowboys have one more Super Bowl before I go meet my maker. Just one. Just give me one. I'll be happy.
Yeah, because they haven't been there since, 96?
Right about, 90s was the last time. It's been 26 years since the last Super Bowl. So it's been a hot minute. Oh, Barry. Barry was the last one that got us the Super Bowl.
Here's a good question. Can Jerry Jones put his ego aside and let Sean Payton coach? That's great.
I think if
G
Sean Payton
report.
becomes the coach, then that will answer your question that yes, he can put his ego aside because Sean Payton is not a yes man. And Jerry likes Sean Payton. So you got to imagine if Sean Payton takes that job, he's going to say, hey, this is how I'm going to run this team. And in the interviewing process, he'll be telling Jerry, this is how I'm going to run the team. This, and this. This is my philosophy. This is the way I do things. And Jerry's going to have to let him do it if he wants him to be the coach. And I think if Sean Payton becomes the Dallas Cowboys coach, that's going to answer that's going to answer the question that, yeah, Jerry's willing to, let some of that ego go. And I think at some point, Jerry's saying to himself, damn, I'm 80. It's been 26 years in the NFL since our Super Bowl. I'm 80 years old. I probably don't have much longer. Maybe I got to start making some decisions if I do want to see another Super Bowl before I die. So, yeah, I think at some point, I think Jerry softens up, and I think Sean Payton does become the head coach. And I think, they're going to let that ego come aside.
I think he can make it work for a season or two, but then it might turn into another Jimmy Johnson situation where Jimmy Johnson's starting to take too much credit for what Jerry Jones wants him to take, and might get him out of there. If I can see that maybe happening with Payton.
With Jimmy Johnson and Jerry, it was all ego based because I think they weren't seeing eye to eye on personal things, and I think one was getting more accolades than the other. I think it just became down to that, and so there was a lot of things that kind of destroyed that relationship. I think Jerry was kind of stupid for letting him go, though. He should have rode that one out like Zorro. But Damien says that Sean Payton and Mike McCarthy are the same in his opinion. Well, your opinion sucks.
Oh no, Sean Payton's a way better coach than Mike McCarthy,
and it's okay.
But hey, everybody watching, if you haven't checked out the G Report, go check it out. That's our buddy Greg that comes on here sometimes, and it's on the ASAP network as well. But go check out his show; it's a good show. And he also says Chiefs are going to make the Super Bowl.
Well, of course you're saying that. You're a Chiefs fan. How would you not, Chiefs Kingdom? So, hey,
Sean Payton.
Saying about the Chiefs, it's not unrealistic. I mean, no. I give Greg a hard time because it's his team, and I'm just saying he's biased. But legitimately, they have a chance, right? They do need a running game, right? I think that's still an issue with the Chiefs is that run game. I think the issues with the Chiefs is still kind of their defense
worries me.
They still have Travis Kelce, but they did lose Tyreek, lost a little speed. I don't know if Juju Smith-Schuster is necessarily going to be the answer for them. So for those reasons, I don't think the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl. I think there's other teams out there that are a little more complete, even though Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. But still, I think there's a few other teams out there a little bit more complete than they are. And I think that's just why I don't think the Chiefs make it.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs' offense. I think they'll be fine. Other than, I think they need to run the ball more. Mm-hmm. And then their defense is what worries me a little bit because you lost some guys and I don't think you've replaced them or have upgraded. I mean, losing Honey Badger is a big deal. I mean, look how much better that defense played when he was in there. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how that defense progresses as the year goes on.
And that's the thing, right? When you lost Matthew, you really lost a lot in that secondary. And I think the secondary, I don't know how good their edge rushers are going to be, but I just – and they're in the hard division too, man, because Denver is still a very complete team. Denver had a good defense last year. They had a good run game. They got some good receivers. They brought in, a Super Bowl caliber quarterback in Wilson. And, the knock on the Denver Broncos last year was that they had a quarterback. We're talking about the Denver Broncos. So, Denver's there. I mean, and of course, Devontae Adams with the Raiders. So that's going to give you another start team. I mean, and again, the Chargers, what they did on defense to complement that offense, what Herbert can do behind that offensive line is just crazy. It's going to really come down to can Keenan Allen stay healthy? Because we know Keenan Allen has issues with staying healthy, and can Austin Eckler stay healthy on the run game? So if they can keep that team healthy.
And they improved their defense.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Chiefs are going to have their work cut out for them. I mean, it's going to take a lot for them just to get out of that damn division.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing I think people overlook is how that could affect all four of them teams because everybody said all four of them are going to make the playoffs or the Chargers are better, Chiefs are better. But the thing is, and you see this in Big Ten basketball and in Big Ten college wrestling. If you watch college wrestling, and it's going to be this way in the AFC West. That division is so tough, and you play everybody in your division twice. So you have those 6 games, and they're going to beat up on each other. And then when you get, like you said, you make it out of that division, you could be injured. You could be banged up more than some of these other teams that don't have tough divisions. Mm-hmm. So, and you see that like Big Ten basketball, they play physical. And then they usually, at the end of the year, they usually fall off. And in college wrestling, sometimes you can see that. So, I mean, yeah, I think that's a real thing that people don't think about.
Yeah. Again, I think there's a lot of competition on that AFC side, competing more so than the NFC side. It's just the NFC, in my opinion, has the best overall team in the Rams. And that's why, I think if it's not for the Rams, then I'm looking at probably the AFC for being the Super Bowl favorites. But man, what a time to be alive! Don't discount this. And I'm going to look past Minnesota. I'm telling a lot of people going to look past Minnesota.
No, yeah, I think Minnesota's going to be good. The only reason why I say Peyton is the same as McCarthy is because they both had Hall of Fame players, but only one Super Bowl in head coach career and hasn't done anything in the playoffs since their Super Bowl win.
Well, to be honest,
one year Sean Payton would have been in the Super Bowl, but the referees didn't call pass interference. That was a blatant miss. Mm-hmm. They'd have been in the Super Bowl that year. The year before that, when the year before they got put out of the playoffs right on the last second play. And the year before that, they got put out when Diggs caught that one pass and ran it for a touchdown. So they were real close to being in the Super Bowl 3 or 4 more times.
The reason why I say Sean Payton and Mike McCarthy aren't even close to being the same is the fact that Mike McCarthy's play calling and ways of doing things are a lot more antiquated. And I think that Sean Payton is so very much viable in play calling. I think he's still very up to speed with how the game is playing today versus how it was played yesterday. And I think Mike McCarthy's still kind of stuck in yesterday mode. And that's why I don't think they're the same. I just think Sean Payton is still a very relevant coach in today's NFL. And I mean, as you can see, look what he did with Jameis Winston. I mean, Winston is a prime example of Sean Payton and how he can rehabilitate people's careers.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I think Sean Payton's a lot better coach than Mike McCarthy. He's a great play caller, and being a play caller is not easy. That's what people don't understand. Is you can't just say, "Oh, I'm gonna call." It's just not about just calling a play. You got to know the feel of your team and what your quarterback likes and what's his strengths, and there's a lot going into what plays you pick, and it's hard. That's why there's only a few guys that can do it. If everybody could do it, there wouldn't be an offensive coordinator. The head coach would just call the plays all the time. So, play calling gets overlooked for sure.
What do you think about, not to switch gears, but what if I still have a hard time understanding how Tiger Woods could just turn down?
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. I'm glad you brought that up because we haven't talked about that in the afternoon show at all. Yeah, Tiger Woods, it's being reported that he was offered up to $700 to $800 million to join Live Golf, and he turned it down. To put this in perspective, he's made $125 million in his career playing golf. That's not counting his other endorsements and stuff, but playing golf. They were going to offer him $700 or $800 million. I mean, that's like 7 times more than what he's made in his career. And
the power of his name is just incredible. And it's really, if anything, I guess it just shows you the character and loyalty.
Yeah. Yep.
that Tiger has to the PGA. And let's be honest, if it wasn't for the PGA giving these guys the platform to come in and compete and try to get on these circuits, they wouldn't even be out there. And so Live is really, basically banking off of or feeding off of the PGA. But they have to look back at what the PGA did for them, because without the PGA, they wouldn't even be with Live. So it does come down to loyalty. But as my wife says, hey, loyalty don't put food on the table, motherfucker. So you better take that damn money and shut up.
That's a lot of money, man. But I mean, Tiger's not hurting for money. So,
by no means.
But it's still, I couldn't imagine. And if he don't want to Live, that would have crippled the PGA.
Yeah, because I mean, for the PGA, there's still a name draw type thing, and when he competes, he still draws crowds, even though his play has dropped off and diminished considerably. He still, he still brings money and puts people in the stands. And that's what I think they still bank on, and why they like him being there and
gets people watching on TV.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm really surprised that more golfers, to be honest with you, on PGA haven't detoured over to Live, just because of the money that Live is offering. I'm really surprised it's just been the fractional few that have left.
Yeah, I think there's been 11 or 12. I think we're going to see some more. I'm looking for more too, because the Live's expanding their season from they're doing 8 this year, and they're doing 14 events next year, and they're paying like $4 million for first place at every event.
Absolutely. And people are so upset because Donald Trump is allowing them to play tournaments at his golf course. You know what? They're playing golf courses all over the U.S. Leave Trump alone. Hey, look, he still has to put money on the table. He still has people's jobs that he has to feed. So if that's
here's my thing about it. You have people are complaining because they say it's blood money because it's from Saudi Arabia. Okay, that's fine. If you want, if that you believe that's where that money is coming, that's fine. But if you're going to have the same energy with the NBA that are partners with China, that do a lot of shit wrong. So why is that okay? But for over here for golf, it's these guys. It's like these guys are devils because they're getting money from Saudi Arabia. I think that's one reason Charles Barkley didn't go, because the media was getting ready to start attacking him.
Yeah, I think Charles was just like, man, I don't know if my reputation could come back from this. So let me just go ahead and shut up and take my $30 million at TNT and call it a day.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? What's the difference? Why is it okay for?
It's not okay. I don't think there's an issue with going to other countries, and because you got to remember, man, not every look. I mean, it's a Saudi regime that's doing it.
Hey, people, just remember this: all the money in the United States ain't clean money.
Oh, we know that.
That's what I'm saying. So why is it a big deal? Because they don't think some of the money in Saudi Arabia is clean money. They think it's blood money. Ain't no different than here.
People don't even realize the U.S. was back in the Taliban when the Russians were invading Afghanistan. So we're giving money to the very people that were assaulting us at the trade towers. So what the hell are we talking about? We gave money to Bin Laden, for crying out loud, as a government. So what are we talking about?
Yeah, stuff gets crazy, man.
It is what it is. I'm not going to fault Trump for hosting a golf tournament. I mean, that's what he does. He hosts golf tournaments. And if it happens to be Saudi that's paying him, then it's Saudi that's paying him. But at the end of the day, I mean, he's still a businessman. He has to do business, and it is what it is.
And that's why I don't blame these golfers for going to Live. It's business. I mean, hey,
let's be honest, he's not the only one that's doing it. There's other golf courses in the U.S.
Well, he was
the Live tournament. I think Seattle's got one up there.
Yeah, he was just the first one to. He was the first one to host a Live tournament.
That's all it is. That people just hate Trump, so they're going to give him shit no matter what he does.
Yeah, that's true too.
This is what it is. I just say, like, hey, it is what it is. If you don't like it, don't watch Live tournaments.
Yep, I agree. Let's get to final thoughts.
Yeah, final thoughts, man. Final thoughts. So DeGrom gave up 3 hits, a run, He's got a 1.80 ERA, and he had 6 strikeouts in his debut against the Nationals. He said he wished he'd have been able to pitch against Soto. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, that is a good testament to see how far back or how more you've matured up the rehab schedule. But man, great outing. I think DeGrom is back. I think as long as he stays healthy, he's going to be formidable as a backup to Scherzer. So again, that just kind of tells you, like I was saying earlier, I think the Mets pitching staff is good, and I'm not discounting them out of this playoffs when they come up, man. I think I would like to see them maybe do a little bit more active in the trade deadline, but I think they felt like what they have is enough. So between that and like I said, we got preseason, man. We're about to be at that pinnacle where we have baseball, basketball, and football within the next couple of months. We'll be in full swing when it comes to sports.
Yes, sir.
Lots and lots of things. Well, even more things to talk about will be popping up. So, Padres, good job. Good job. Now you're going to really bring the heat to the Dodgers, and we'll finally see what it looks like to give have competition. And we'll see how many more Coors Lights he pops open watching these Dodgers, or doesn't pop.
Before we get out of here, quick scoreboard update. The Tampa Bay Rays are up 3-2 over the Blue Jays in the 8th inning. Phillies are ahead of the Braves 3-1 in the 8th inning. The Mariners are ahead of the Yankees 6-1 in the 5th inning. You got the Guardians up 4-0 over the Arizona Diamondbacks. That game's in the 5th inning as well. Twins are up 2-1 over the Tigers in the 6th inning of that game. Orioles and Rangers are tied 1-1 in the 2nd inning. The Astros are up 4-0 over the Red Sox in the 2nd inning. Okay. White Sox and Royals White Sox are up 1-0 in the 2nd inning of that game. That's all the games that are on right now. Next game starts at 4:05 with the New York Mets at the Washington Nationals.
All I can say is 6-1. 6-1, Frankie. 6-1. Are you telling me you're about to split the series with the Seattle Mariners? And if the Astros can win today, what happy day would be. Good time in sports, man. Hell yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, there's a lot of baseball on this afternoon, a lot of early games. So if you're a sports fan and you're looking for something on TV, there's a lot of baseball on today. I like when they have afternoon baseball. It gives me something to watch in the afternoon.
Yeah, I'm actually cognizant versus, those damn West Coast games where I'm up to like damn near 1 in the morning, and I'm like, what the hell?
I'm up till 3:30 in the morning every night anyway. 1
in the morning. Why am I still watching baseball? Should be asleep or something. Damn.
A couple weeks ago,
Mancini homeward for the Astros. Good job, Mancini.
A couple weeks ago during Wimbledon, I got into one of them matchups, and I looked up, and it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. I was still sitting there watching tennis. I'm like, why in the hell am I up watching tennis? But dude, I love watching. I watch like the Wimbledon. I like watching the majors because I think it's a fun game to watch. But
right.
Especially when you get 2 of the top players. But you got anything else to add before we get off here for today?
No, other than I guess I got excited. Mancini with the home run. And again, hey, Vasquez is playing today at catcher. Mancini's in, so that they got their 2 additions plugged into the lineup, and they're doing well. And as you can see, man, they put him in the lineup, and all of a sudden, I get it. Now we're getting the production. We're up 4-0 in the 2nd inning over the Sox. So, maybe this will be the catalyst to rejuvenate these Astros and catapult us on. So, hey, good job. I'm happy. And if they lose, the Yankees I'm talking about, and they split with Seattle, I'm about to call Frankie and make sure he's okay.
So I'll have to call and make sure he's okay.
And he's still pissed off because Frankie the Yankee has now been given to Frank Montas. So Frankie C. is so upset right now because of that.
Yeah, I saw that post. But Yeah, before we get out of here, don't forget, go to the YouTube page, hit that subscribe button on the ASAP Sports Network. Like and follow the ASAP Sports Network on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. ASAP has a lot of different shows on throughout the day. Unscripted is on ASAP every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and on Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. So you got a lot of good shows on the ASAP Network. Go hit that like and follow button for them. And we will see you guys tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern for another episode of the ASAP Afternoon Blitz. I want to thank Jay for joining us, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports all plays.
What the?